Welcome to the Brilliant Humans podcast, where we celebrate extraordinary people. But here's the catch. No one's talking about themselves. Every guest is here to share the story of a brilliant human who shaped them, inspired them, or changed their life forever. They might be famous or completely unknown, alive or no longer with us, a teacher, a parent, a stranger, a leader, a friend. These are real stories, honestly told. Stories of kindness, creativity, courage and connection, because brilliance deserves to be shared. This is the Brilliant Humans podcast. Welcome to the show. On this episode of the Brilliant Humans podcast, I am joined by the marvellous Sasha Gorbatenko, a runner, champion of women in technology, TEDx speaker, and mum to American Pitbull show dog California. Beyond her work in marketing and project management, she's a platinum tier facilitator of the Google I Am Remarkable program, and she's just completed her MBA at the University of York. Sasha is here to share her story of someone who shaped her life, a brilliant human who inspired her to see the world and the people in it in a different way. I can't wait to hear who this is and what they did. Hello, Sasha.
Hi, John. Thank you so much for this nice intro. I'm flattered, as always.
Well, I mean, you should be. I mean, it could have been double the length. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. I'm very intrigued by this Google I Am Remarkable program. Could you just quickly tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, this is some initiative that I joined almost 6 years ago, and it did have a very big impact on me because I come from a set of countries, like from Slavic countries, where humbleness and modesty are like the key things, and we usually never speak about our achievements. And it means a lot to me to be able to do self-promotion, to work on a personal brand. And people do not usually have this as a skill, and this workshop helps people to get out of the box, start talking about their achievements, and start doing this self-promotion. And here I am. I trained over than 700 people so far.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
it's
amazing.
crazy.
Yeah, 700 people. I mean, maybe one of them will come on here and talk about you as a brilliant human, having inspired them.
I wish.
I mean, look, that's amazing and great work. But you know, and it might be that the person you're going to speak about today, it might be that they kind of had some part in the journey that you've got to. So let's jump straight in. I have, you know, I'm so excited to hear about this person. So I never know about the guests coming on and who they're going to talk about. So tell us, who is your brilliant human?
So I'm going to speak about my teacher, journalism teacher. It was like an additional education that I was receiving after school hours. When I was 14, I started attending School of Young Journalists because this is something that I really wanted to do for life. Actually, it was a really good connection because we started speaking about I'm Remarkable and speaking about the modesty and my cultural background. And this is actually my journalism school is something that actually helped me to work with the modesty because I was a very shy person. And I barely had friends. I had some, of course, but it was not that I was so outgoing, extrovert, and I was like super shy during my whole school years. And when I joined the school at the age of 14, we had this very tough woman leading the school. And she was in her 60s, I think, and she founded the school in the 90s, so it exists for a while. And the idea behind the school is to, of course, teach a young generation to start writing and start looking for what they want to do in their life, whether this is like TV and radio journalism, whether they want to do editing, writing, or even do newspaper design. This was also possible. And every month we would issue a newspaper. It had 8 pages, and it was a really cool achievement if your article will get in the paper. And yes, this was these times when newspapers were on paper. Yeah, it was really hard to imagine. Yeah, but
no, younger listeners are like, "What's a newspaper?"
Yeah.
So what was this lady's name?
Her name was Irina, and last name is Tararina. Quite complicated, I know.
I'm gonna stick with Irina. Irina. So,
Yeah,
and
Irina.
was she what was her history then? Did she train as a journalist? Did she work as a journalist?
Yeah, she worked as a journalist at some key newspapers, and of course she was a teacher during her almost all of her life. But she was like a journalist practitioner, and of course she had a wide network of people that she used to work with, and each young journalist has had this opportunity to be introduced to some newspapers and to start their journalism path like very early, not even even before entering the university, I mean. So it was a really great experience, and she was the one who actually showed me how I can come out of the shell and start not being so shy. And by the way, speaking of paper newspapers, those were the times where we didn't even have smartphones and internet on our phones. It was 2000 to 2004. So this was the times, like ancient times. Okay, I feel like I'm a dinosaur now. So we couldn't even search anything on the internet, but she was such a tough person. If you would reach out to her say, hey, where is this newspaper office? Where can I find it? And she would be super surprised. She would be telling you, okay, you are a journalist. You are here to find information. You have to be super confident, you have to be responsible, and you have to be curious. So this is something that I learned from her at the first point, that you are not here to be shy, because I'm such of a person who couldn't even ask for the time in the street. But here you have to be an avant-garde if you want to be a journalist. Shyness is like behind the door. And yeah, this is like really amazing how I even got there, and why I got there. Actually, I know why I got there, because I was a fan of do you know maybe cartoon Ninja Turtles? Yeah.
I mean, if you're now going to say that April O'Neil was your inspiration,
Yes.
there
Yes.
we go. Yes.
Since I was like, I don't know, 7, I mean, that's how I got there.
Well, there you go.
I'm even dressed like her.
I know. I was going to say,
now.
I think you're dressed like her subconsciously. So look, so you're 14 years old. You're shy. You won't even ask for the time, and then you walk into this journalism school and meet Irina. What was your first impression of her?
I was scared. I was scared because she was like very tall, very powerful, and you can actually feel this. We're not speaking about esoteric here, but you can feel her aura. It's like very tough. And again, in my culture, we were raised to respect the age, no matter what people do. And this respect is very connected to the fear. And of course, I was like scared. And I didn't necessarily understand everything, every task that she was asking for. I remember one of the first tasks was to put together the news article, like very short news article, just to use some information. And I totally misunderstood the concept on how should I do that. Actually, I should go and find some interesting information, right? From my school, from my, I don't know, surroundings, from the building that I'm living. Something should be happening, right? But I didn't find anything, so I was watching a TV, and there were some news, and then I just retyped it, and I kind of showed it to her, like, oh, there's this news about this new, I don't know, garden that's going to be launched in that city, something like that. And she was like, how do you know this information? What is your source? And I said, TV. And then she was like, okay, it's not going to be counted, you need to go and find something else. So I think I did find something, but I was so unconfident about my skills. And starting from this failure, I was thinking that I will never reach any better level because I'm like nobody. And of course she was like, I mean, I was really scared of her, of course, obviously, because I even couldn't even fulfill the very first and the very easy task. But piece by piece, yeah,
That was basically what you did there was like the equivalent of going on ChatGPT and
yeah,
asking it to write you an
yeah,
article. That was you. You were
exactly.
hacking it back then, but clearly, I mean, clearly she saw something in you. So, and you know, when we put this out and we said we're looking for brilliant humans to be talked about, you were very quick in coming in and saying, "I would like to talk about this lady." So, what is it that makes her so brilliant? Is it, you know, that kind of pushing you? Was there kindness behind that? What, you know, when you think about her being brilliant, what comes to
Yeah.
mind?
So we've been speaking about respect towards older generation, but she was the first person who actually showed the opposite. She was talking to all of us as if we're not children. And she had this weird phrases that in Russian I cannot even translate, but I think it would be an equivalent like, children, are you idiots? And of course, this might, like, if you say this thing like within our nowadays environment, you will be fired, of course. But within her concept, it was like, I respect you so much, but why do you fail? You're so smart, and I know how smart you are. Why do you fail? So the worst thing to do was not to fail because you're afraid to fail because of yourself, but because you don't want to disappoint her. And I think she's brilliant in working with children, considering them as adults, and I think that's the key to success. And that's why my fear really quickly converted into something like respect, confidence, and this is something what I learned. And she was always pushing us for more, but it was like so motivating. And I actually started traveling the world, and uh, even my first trip to a foreign country was with this journalism school, and was with her, because she said, journalists, you have to be very curious about everything. You have to travel the world. You have to compare things. And what makes her brilliant in here is that, imagine a woman at the age of 60, and it's the beginning of noughties, right? And the Soviet Union just collapsed like 10 years ago. And she has this totally different mindset that you need to travel, you need to know, you need to be hungry for the information. And I mean, my mom is she has a way older mindset, even though she's younger. And this woman, she definitely stand out here.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about that because when you were saying that she was in, I was trying to work out. I was like, well, she would have been working in a really male-dominated world in the Soviet Union when it was that. And and so did she ever tell you about her history? I mean, she must have been so strong-minded just to break down those barriers, literally as a woman in a man's world.
Unfortunately, I cannot tell you much because she was never focused on herself, but she would rather give us some examples of her feelings. And speaking of the things that I again learned from her, and what was like the best lesson or the best advice that I could share, is that, I mean, it's not connected to journalism at all. First of all, she introduced us a course of ethics, which is not connected to journalism, but she literally told us how to behave within society and how to talk. And one of the lessons that I remember till nowadays, she said, you should be very careful about your facial expression. And she would give an example that she would tell us that she's been living her like a lot of years in her life with a facial expression that is not welcoming at all. And she said that other people do not deserve that. You should always be, if not smiling, but welcoming. And people do not deserve to see your face that is not very happy.
I'm going to work on that now. I'm going to think of Irina, and and now she's impacted me. But when you think, I mean, look, she obviously taught you so much. What do you think that one of the biggest impacts that she had on you was?
Actually, that I'm fearless by nature. I don't know how she taught me that, but she gave me the belief in myself because I told you, like, I failed the very first task. And I did, like, at school, at literature classes, I always got their average marks. I never got good or excellent marks. It was super average because my teacher never believed in me. And its school system is built the way that you need to have some standardized opinion. If your opinion differs from the mainstream, then something is off with you and you get a C, not an A or B. And I mean, I don't know how the things at schools are now, and it again depends by country, by culture. But within our school, it was like you should think about very mainstream things. And Irina was a person who actually appreciated different opinion, and she was the one who helped us develop our own opinion.
You're listening to the Brilliant Humans podcast, where, here's the catch, no one talks about themselves, only the brilliant human who changed their life. If you've got someone you'd like to celebrate, drop us a note at brillianthumanspodcast@gmail.com.
What do you think she would make of today's journalism? I mean, it's a bit of a sort of side question, but now she was all about curiosity and going out there and getting the facts, and now journalism is so different. What do you think she'd make of it?
I don't know what impact Irina would do within the journalism, but she was the best in making and teaching people how to make their opinion matter and how to give it a form so that it matters. Because of course, if even if your thought is very nice, it doesn't mean that you can promote it well, right? And she was the one who could actually teach how to do that. And I'm really hoping that all my ideas and everything that I'm sharing now, it's kind of clear.
Absolutely, and that's the key, isn't it? She wasn't really, and I think the pennies just dropped. She wasn't really teaching you how to be a journalist. She was teaching you how to be a strong, independent, curious, human that wants to learn about other people. I mean, this is the thing about this podcast. It's trying to share. I would never have come into contact with Irina. There's just no chance. But I'm now learning from her through you. But what do you think the biggest lesson that Irina taught you that you would love other people to know?
Oh gosh, there's many. I mean, that there is really many. I think apart from what I have already listed, of being bold, of being curious, you just have to remain to be human, and you have to be very honest with yourself. And if you're doing something that you really don't like, you should not continue doing that. And I think, as you said, she was not teaching us journalism at the very first point, but she was teaching all of us to be humans. And she also taught us to respect everyone and to respect others' opinion. And I don't know, there's like really many things that I could list, but I think that I should be super thankful to who I am right now, because our parents, they see us way less than our teachers. So anything that I know about confidence, about curiosity, about being a good human, I know from Irina, not from my mother even, not from my grandmother, not from anybody else, because Irina witnessed me like every day for 4 hours after school, something like that. And I can't even tell you that there was a lot of communication with her, like chit chats and things like that, because also I was like a young girl, right, a teenager. And she also had, I don't know, 100 such teenagers every year. But even within these moments, I captured so many good things from her. So I'm thankful till nowadays. And you see, this just amazes me that she's not with us since 2007. And when you asked who would you speak about, right, within this podcast, she's the first person that came up to my mind, even though it was almost 20 years ago that she's passed away.
Yeah, I mean, and what an amazing legacy. And you said something there that really resonated with me, which was respect other people and listen and be curious about them. And I think that's what we've lost. We're losing that today. We're losing the ability to have a conversation. And I think just generally understanding other people's point of view and being curious and treating people like humans, even if they might disagree with you, and learn why. So, I mean, that's such a wonderful, wonderful lesson to give. And it's really clear. And I hope you know how, like, she's really, I can feel your passion for her, which is so lovely. But look, I mean, we asked this question because even brilliant people, you know, make mistakes, or they change, or they could be better. So with hindsight, thinking about Irina, is there anything that you think she could have done a bit differently?
It's a very sad story, but I think I can share. So I was friends with one girl, like from the School of Journalism that I met there. So we're the same age, and sadly she passed away in May this year. I was to put together some short article about her, because that's what we did, like all of her friends and everybody. And she was a journalist. And so my perception, and something that I've shared with you about this particular phrase that Irina would usually say, "Children, you're idiots." To me, it was something powerful, fun, and at the same time respectful. But for this particular girl, who is gone, who is Irina, her name is also Irina. And I remember that she made some Facebook post years ago where she remembered that phrase, and she said, "This was so disrespectful." So based on that, what can I say? That people are very different, and you should find a way to every person if you're a teacher. This might not work for everyone, of course. You have your own style, and you shouldn't please everyone, right? And if it works for someone, it doesn't work for someone. So I think that what she could have done better is to find better connection to some certain people who might not get it.
Yeah. I'd love to know. I mean, what is the phrase in Russian?
Дети вы идиоты. Вы придурки. Дети вы придурки.
You go. I mean, it sounds so much better. It sounds so much better in Russian. It certainly doesn't sound like you're calling a child an idiot. But
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it's that man management piece. And I think, again, times have kind of changed in that, if I went into work and said to my team, come on, guys, you're idiots, I might get in trouble for it. But again, context, time, it's all really important. Before I get on to the last question, you said she was tall. Can you? I mean, I've got a visual in my head, but what did she look? What did she look like? I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'd really love to know what she looked like.
Oh, she was a very tall woman with short white hair, blonde hair, and she was wearing like really big glasses, and sometimes she had to put them down to see like what idiots children were writing down, and she was like, "Oh my gosh!" And these were the times where all of our articles were handwritten. So she had to read all of that. And this was terrible, and she was like really nice. And when I was at home like 2 weeks ago, I actually took a few photos with her. Like I took a photos with my phone of the actual photos that I have.
Okay,
I can
well,
share with you after.
Please share. We'll put them up when we release it, because I mean, this woman just sounds incredible, and she's definitely brilliant. So the way we wrap up this podcast is we always ask this final question. What would you say to Irina if you had the chance now?
Actually, I even have this as my mantra, but I usually, like in any complicated situation that I have, I'm telling her thank you for everything and for teaching me being a human. This is something that we have already covered several times during this podcast, but it really is meaningful to me. And every time I go, I'm an Orthodox Christian, and we usually light a candle to the people who want to commemorate. And I would usually light a candle and say thank you for making me such a human. And everything that I have now, all of my personal qualities, is because of her. I'm hoping that my mom would never listen to this podcast.
I'm sure she'd understand. Wow. I mean, I can tell that you're very, very grateful for her being part of your life, and I'm very grateful for her being part of your life, because when you have someone talking so fondly like you can just feel it. And she sounded like a very, very special woman. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing that with everyone. That's been amazing.
Thank you so much, John. I'm super thankful to you because I could recollect all of my memories, and you see the way that I'm smiling, and you see that it impacts positively on my well-being, of course. And I think this is very important. And recently, my friend who leads the school now, she reached out to me whether I will be down for an interview about Irina, because they are celebrating the anniversary of the newspaper and of the press center that they have there. So good to recollect all of that. So thank you, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. And I think that's the thing. We've got all these amazing, brilliant humans that have created us. They've all, this is so cheesy. I can't even believe I'm saying it, but there's a line in one of the songs in Wicked the musical, which is, you left a handprint on my heart. And I feel like all the people we come into contact with that have any meaningful part of our lives, they leave an impression. You find yourself speaking the words they speak. You find yourself talking to them and asking for advice, and I think sometimes the world just moves so fast that it's lovely just to take a moment like today and just go, thank you to those people. So, I massively appreciate it. So thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait to get this out and have everyone listen to it. You take care of yourself.
Thank you so much, you too.
Thank you for listening to the Brilliant Humans podcast. If you've got a brilliant human you'd like to celebrate, then email us at brillianthumanspodcast@gmail.com to find out how to share their story. Or if there's someone you'd simply like to thank, why not tell them right now? It might just make their day. See you next time.